Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Chrono Trigger. I am Mega Freak 400, and we are going to go fight Heckran! Death to the Mystic's enemies! Heckran is this dude. What's with all the monsters looking really kind of ugly? They just have... this guy really does look kind of really almost goofy in a way. He's got this big mouth, he's got these huge claws. I mean, Crawley from the sewers was kind of, you know, odd looking, but this guy, he looks just kind of ridiculous. It's like... he must have been made fun of in, like, Monster High School or something. Like, he's just, ridiculous. Anyway, magic, you definitely want to use magic against him because, they do more damage, obviously, because he is, you know, the monsters are supposedly, they're magic using, but they're also not resistant to magic for whatever reason. But they're strong against physical attacks. And usually, humans are supposed to be gone. Which, that's the thing, if monsters can use magic, and magic-using humans are gone, then how the heck did they lose the war? So I guess, well, there's some explanation, but, yeah, and here's Fire Punch. I wanted to show that off because I got that technique new. Heckran, again, this guy's not that hard. The biggest thing is, in a second you'll see, is he'll, tell you to, try and attack him at one point, and you don't want to attack him, because if you attack him, he will counterattack with a strong counterattack. So, during that, yeah, right here, go ahead and try and attack. Don't attack during this, just heal. You know, just healing, that's the best thing to do here. When his arm is up, don't attack him. What else to talk about? Here's an interesting thing, if you hadn't heard already, they're making, not only making, but they're not making a new one, but they're releasing Fire Emblem, oh, I can't remember what the name is, but it was really the first one for the SNES. It was basically, it had a remake of the first Fire Emblem, as well as a sequel for the DS. They're remaking that for the DS now, and you know, it's kind of had some apprehension because it's like, well, okay, you're releasing the first one again, but that means like Shadow Dragon was essentially pointless to release. But what I did find really interesting is recently, actually, as in yesterday, technically I'm recording this on the day I found out, actually moments after I found out, moments before I found out, I am telling you what I found out. It's going to include a remake of, the BS Fire Emblem, and no, I'm not saying bullshit Fire Emblem, BS, there was Stella Vision, or Stella View, I think it was Stella View, but anyway, back in the day, on the Famicom, there was satellite attachment, done by, was it St. Curtis or something, but some radio station, yes indeed, I love that name of it, the attack, they did, basically broadcast games and other things like magazines and stuff, but they basically broadcast games. So you would sit down at a certain time period, and the game would be broadcast, and you play the game for a certain time. It's an interesting concept. The problem is, obviously, the games, once they were done broadcasting, you know, once the broadcasts were done and they never rebroadcast, there was no way to play them except for the emulation. And of course, some of the stuff from emulation is like, there was the BS Zelda for not BS Zelda, but A Link to the Past BS Zelda, which was almost more like a sequel, with the ancient stone tablets, and that had, like, I think voice acting, and it had orchestrated music too, or not. It was arranged music, not necessarily orchestrated, but you don't have that because the emulation can't do that. But you know, it was kind of disappointing, and I wouldn't mind playing the games on, like, if they release them as downloads that'd be perfect via the VC to have BS VC downloads. Well, a lot of people say they already have BC VS downloads, or VC. But anyway, the BS Fire Emblem, which essentially had 4 games, which were basically just 4 maps that were essentially each game was a map, or each game was one map, and you played it, and it was basically a prequels to the first Fire Emblem. So they're just things that, like, one of them is the fall of one of the castles before Mars Castle, stuff like that. And they're gonna put that into the game, the DS remake, as well. So that's actually a good idea, and actually, again, I think it leaves kind of Shadow Dragon to be kind of pointless. I mean, you're essentially releasing it again, but with more stuff. So then anyone who bought Shadow Dragon it was kind of like somewhat of a waste of money to an extent. Then again, they've re-released games a lot of times though. They've re-released like Ocarina of Time has been re-released so many times. What else? I mean, companies just re-release games all the time, so it's not like a huge surprise. In the Middle Ages, Magus created Lavos, destroyer of this planet's future. We could use the gate at the fairgrounds. So we're going to the Middle Ages to defeat Lavos back then, or to stop Magus, rather stop Magus from making Lavos. We're going to jump in this pool because, you know, it's safe. Nothing wrong with it. We actually end up outside of Luca's house somehow. And let's go talk to her father, because we can. But actually, yeah, you want to come here periodically because Luca's father, Taban, that's an awesome name. I'm gonna if I ever have kids, I'm naming that my first son Taban. Taban is like the best name ever. Not really. I could name him Robo, but then he'd probably be laughed at. Though probably if his name was Taban, he'd also be laughed at too. Luca and Taban only care about the sword toy. So yeah, Luca's mother is bitter and bitter. Oh, you're just in time. You got Taban Vaz. So this is a pretty good equip for Luca. It doesn't have the highest defense for a while. Like, pretty soon you'll get another item that actually has better defense. But it does have a fire guard ups, meaning that she's more resistant to fire, even more than... I think she has some natural... it's just natural guarding to fire because she's the fire... So she is a fire type, so fire damage does less to her. And then she gets, of course, 2... I think it was magic or speed, whatever. She gets 2 more things. Anyway, this is Fritz. This is the guy that we saved back in the... jail, who was going to get executed because he ended up with a bunch of thieves and they just executed him without a trial. That's probably our fault because again we kind of somewhat changed history. Which again, this is almost subtle. You don't even notice this to an extent. I didn't even think about it until playing this time. But we're like really like as you go back in time, you do subtly change the future a little bit. Mostly the biggest example is like the the courts. Like that probably wouldn't have happened if we hadn't went back in time. Anyway, oh my god, music is so awesome. So anyway, you can go here. He doesn't really have anything amazing. Mostly it's just the same stuff that Melchior had. So if you didn't buy anything there, you can buy it here. If you didn't save him, I don't know if you can... You might still be able to buy stuff, but you definitely won't get all those, what are they, ethers? Or you won't get those that you got. Anyway, let's go to the fairgrounds, because we have to go to the past to stop Magus from creating... Lavos, which, the question is, wait, he lost the war against, the humans, if no one has been able to beat him yet, then, how did he lose the war? And I know, and to anyone who's played this game, yeah, you why he lost the war, but I'm playing dumb, because, spoilers. So when you go through a gate, now that we have the end of time, when you go through a gate, for example, one of the fairgrounds, you'll open up 2 new areas here. So we now have an area to the fairgrounds and an area to Truce Cannon, which means we should probably go back to the Protodome, or not the Protodome, but was it Ares Dome? The one that we want to first get in the future at some point, because that's the one I usually forget to reactivate. I don't know if you necessarily have to, but anyway, here we got some good level ups. Actually, we learned I thought I learned a move. Well, I guess just level up. Anyway, let's go to Xenan Bridge, because it's now fixed. Our rations have run out. Have the spies from Guardian Castle arrived yet? No, I don't know. Okay. So basically, they need rations from Guardian Castle, because they can't fight without food, I guess. Which I guess makes sense. It's kind of like with Digimon. They're useless without full stomach. Anyway, and supposedly they got the hero. There's this hero supposedly that has arrived that they got across the bridge. So he's going to help out, I guess. And yeah, the soldiers see it's us, and yeah, we're basically best friends with the guards, I guess. They don't have any problem with us. And I will bring up something. I can't remember. I apologize. I can't remember the person's name, but they did actually bring up a good point. I said it like Robo wandering around, would be kind of odd. But he did bring up the person who made a comment. I really apologize that I don't remember the actual username, but that like during the Middle Ages they think it was just a guy in a suit of armor, which I guess makes sense. I personally probably would be. Yeah, I know. I guess makes sense because it kind of looks odd. He looks odd, but yeah, I could buy that him being in a suit of armor at the time. And then there was robots, of course, in our time period. So yeah, the king was injured, but they got the hero that came, supposedly, is going to save us all. So we have to go help get across the bridge and maybe help this hero. So the chef, whose brother is the captive guard, is like, well, that's what he gets for not thinking anyone else fights the country. We fight with soup in the kitchen. He's fighting in the war with bacon. So anyway, he won't give you anything, but just leave, and he will give you something because he saw the error of his ways. Here's the rations, which are... What the hell, dude? One jerky? That's not gonna feed an army. You must be, like, delusional or something. And, oh, we got a power tab. That's cool. One piece of jerky is not going to feed an army. No. This has been Make a Fix for 100, reminding you... No.